rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Karibuni katika kipindi chetu cha Almuslimah, kipindi ambacho kinaangazia maisha ya dada wetu katika dini ya Kiislamu. Akhawat fillah, we see that our sisters in Islam are faced with a lot of challenges trying to achieve their careers, or rather trying to achieve their goals in life. Today we have a successful story, a story that is among the most successful stories that we have in our history of Kenya. A girl that was able to achieve whatever that she wanted to achieve despite the challenges that she went through. We have Naima Salim today with us. Welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me today.
Naima, I'd really like you to start by introducing yourself.
I'm an aeronautical engineer by profession.
Yeah.
I've been working at Kenya Airways for the last 2 years as a development engineer and maintaining aircrafts. I graduated from the University of Manchester.
Being an aeronautical engineer, it's a weird word, let me tell you, among our girls, yeah?
Yeah.
And of course it's something big. You have achieved so much at a very tender age. I mean, did you have these dreams of becoming one?
Yes, I did. I always saw myself doing something that is out of the norm because I never considered myself being like sticking to the norm. I always enjoyed the math, the physics, and certain subjects that always tend to be more male dominated. And yeah, once I excelled myself through this, I managed to actually get myself to a career that I really enjoy. Possibly the reason why I chose aeronautical dependent to mechanical or any other electrical engineering is I love the traveling, I love the aviation perspective of seeing different parts of the world. So this brought me into aeronautical, which is something that now I can mix both my professional life with what I enjoy doing by seeing the world.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Of course, yani, there were challenges. I'd really like you to tell us the challenges from the beginning, like from the time you wanted to be like a, you know, aeronautical engineer.
Wow. That comes as it's not a surprising question. Since when I made the decision that I wanted to do aeronautical engineering, I remember that I got a lot of backlash, especially from my family, my extended family. Especially one was that I was going to study abroad because this is not a course that is taught in Kenya. And two was the fact that I was studying engineering, which is not something a girl is doing, something possibly not even my mom or my dad could pronounce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you find that, yes, everyone had these question marks as, what is she going to do?
Yeah, of course.
You know? So alhamdulillah, I managed to pass my exams and I got into one of the top universities. And once I got there, it was different experience from what I expected. I wasn't so sure what I was going to expect there, but when I got there, it was a number of like 5 girls in a group of 80 boys.
80?
Yes.
Wow.
And fair enough, I was the only Muslim girl who had actually done aeronautical engineering before. So it was a big question mark to all my lecturers and all the university in general as to what I was doing there, what am I thinking I'm going to achieve with this. To the fact that even when I was applying for it in high school, I remember my high school teacher telling me, with the current Islamophobia going on in the aviation industry, do you really think you're going to actually make a career out of this? And I was like, I'm going to do my best. So the same stigma is the same thing I faced being in a European country now and studying this course. My lecturers didn't even used to bother with me. They never used to think that I would actually finish the course, because they just thought that she's here, she thought she could do it because she had good high school grades, but let's give her another 2 or 3 years and see how it goes, you know. So that was a challenge, and especially the fact that they've already put all of us, the 5 girls rather, despite of your background, as to what you could achieve. I stood out more because now I was the Muslim girl who was trying to be different. And so it was difficult for the first 2, 3, 4 years in university until it reached a point that now I showed them that I was capable and I wasn't there just because it's something that I thought I could do but I couldn't eventually. And alhamdulillah, once they see that you are into it, they actually now encourage you and push you through it. And I was happy that I got a lecturer towards the last year who actually now gave me, saw the potential in me and actually pushed me to achieve it. So, alhamdulillah.
So maybe you can tell me about the course itself. Did you find any difficulties? You know, okay, in the beginning you can say, okay, I wanted the course.
Yeah.
But of course it reaches a time in the university and you're like, this thing is just too difficult for me, because a lot of girls, we've seen that. We've seen girls going to Europe, to Turkey, becoming engineers. 2 years later, they're back to the country again saying, that was just too difficult.
It's not only girls. It falls with also boys. I can say with Kenyans who came into the engineering industry, we were like 5 or 6 Kenyans from the same university, and I was the only one who finished the course. So it's not about boys and girls. It's like the course itself. It is really tough. It's something totally different from what you do in high school. And the worst part about studying abroad is you're away from family. Here you have your mother's pressure to be like, you're just watching TV, go and study, you know. But there you're on your own. To balance that, to balance your social life with your friends, if you want to have friends, because the minute you start being on your books, there's no time you're going to have friends. If you want to be involved in Islamic society, Islamic charity work, it takes a lot of your time because they need you all the time there to volunteer. It's something also I love doing is volunteering. So when I focus my time there, I tend to lose on my education. So that balance is a bit of a struggle. There were times that I do so much of social activities that I'll end up not doing well in my courses. And then you just have to kind of bring that balance out. And it's with an engineering course, it's really difficult. You find yourself up until 3 a.m., 4 a.m., finishing, finalizing your deadlines. So,
okay, of course, as a Muslim girl, how were you able to balance between your education and your Islamic values? Because this is something that we see with our girls. The moment they get into universities, they forget who they are. And then they start embracing cultures and norms and lifestyles that are not Islamic completely. So they end up forgetting what took them there and failing in their careers. So how did you make it, being in a foreign country, which is a non-Islamic country? So how well did you balance?
Quite frankly, that's a challenge that you face, especially studying outside. That's a really big challenge. And I've already seen a lot of girls who fell off the wagon very easily. And alhamdulillah, I would say that comes from my mother. One thing that is usually the difficult part is when you come from a very pushy family, a very conservative family, that's when you come and open up to the world, you're like, whoa, there's all this to the world that I never saw, you know. There's that pressure, so much of it. Like you were so enclosed that now you step out of it and then you're like, you
that
see
happens.
it,
Definitely.
So the thing with my mom is, when I was here, she told me, I've taught you your values. Like, I think I've done my best, and now it's up to you. You're an adult. Like, you know your values. So once you're out of your house, my house, the God that is in Manchester is the same God that was in my house. So I don't expect you to be any different. So I think the minute that they gave me that statement of you're an adult, step out there, it's your life, the way you deal with it. Of course, there were challenges. When I got there, even life in the UK, even in Kenya, as much as you're open-minded or whatever, you still see more to it. And it's challenging. So you get there and then you find yourself coming back. But the lucky thing is, when you come back and pray, when you go to the mosque and pray, you see other girls, you see other older women especially who are there, who are also mentors, and they come and talk to you, and you engage with them, then you kind of remember back who you are. And so I feel it usually comes from the background that you come from. You get there, you see people who you're familiar with, then it comes into your heart like there's something not right. So every time you try and step out, you feel like there's something in your heart telling you, I'm not doing the right thing, and you find yourself going back.
That is perfect. So parental values, those inflections are very important. That. Mashallah. Okay, now you finished studying in Manchester, came back to Nairobi. How did you find the job market? Was it readily available?
Oh, no. Not at all. First of all, like what I studied is not something that is practiced in Kenya. Originally, as an aeronautical engineer, I'm supposed to be designing the aircraft. I'm not supposed to be maintaining it. So that's not capacity we have in Kenya. So when I came and I tried to just come down to maintenance, and I remember going to Wilson Airport trying to find an internship, and most of them, they were like, wow, surprised, oh wow, there's a Muslim girl who's actually done this. But now when it comes to actually thinking that you can do the job, it's a different question. So yeah, I think I spent almost 6 to 7 months looking for a job.
Oh, that's very short.
But you know, with no hope. Like you know, you're going somewhere, you're sending your CVs, but nothing, no response. So until like I was called for an internship at Kenya Airways, and then I started as an intern, and then that's from there when I got to prove myself. That's when now they took me in as a graduate engineer.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you've been working ever since then?
Yes.
Almost 2 years now at Kenya Airways.
Yes.
MashaAllah, tabaraka rahman. Naima, of course you have one of the most stressful jobs on earth, you know? How are you able to balance it as a young Muslim girl?
It's tough. Yeah. It's obviously tough, and it just comes with the passion. Okay. Like I feel the first time I got my airside pass to the airport, where I now could access the aircraft, and it was like the latest aircraft, which is the Boeing 787s, which are the latest ones in Kenya. Yeah. I was so excited. Like even the mentor who was with me was like, I didn't expect you to be this excited. Yeah. And every time we try to work on a challenge, and I think that's where it comes. Like you're not doing a routine job. Your job is more of like solving the problem.
MashaAllah.
So I like that thinking, that challenge,
yes.
that challenge of like, you're not trying to solve it, and I have that in me that if I don't solve it, I might even not eat or sleep. I might even be sleeping and just be thinking about it.
Okay.
So I have that drive, just keeps me there to actually deal with it.
MashaAllah.
So yes, there is a challenge. Like I find myself coming home at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. But as I said, it's a balance. Sometimes you find yourself coming home at 2 p.m. So the days you take 2 p.m., you come home and rest and do the other work. Yeah. But the days that you have to come at 10 p.m., 11, you just have to balance it and try and find a solution. But I think what drives is just the passion.
It's the passion behind it. MashaAllah. Yeah. That was a very interesting story. Inshallah, after the break, I want to talk to Naima, the mentor that I know. Okay. Inshallah. We are going to take a break, inshallah, and when we come back, we are going to talk about how Naima has been able to mentor our girls in our society today. Welcome back to our program. Before the break, we were talking to our very own Naima Salim, the aeronautical engineer, about her career and the challenges that she has faced to achieve her goals. And inshallah, we want to talk to her about her mentorship programs that she has for our girl child today. Naima, what do you think of our girl child today?
Our girl child today is exposed to so much. There's a lot on the internet, on your mobile phones, accessible on your laptops. And despite of all this, regards, if I look at the Kenyan community, we are all conformed to one norm. One norm where like a girl has to have this kind of lifestyle, these kind of steps. Yeah. Like there are certain stages in your life that you have to go through, and they find everyone going through the same. So it's like when you're 25, 26, you have to be married by now, you have to have kids by 30, and etc. And at the same time, your career has to also follow a path that forms to the same direction, you know. And your education, it can't fall in between your religion and your career. It has to be one way or not the other. So this is what most of them fall in. Get lost in between. They don't know where to balance it. And this is usually a challenge you find all girls facing. And that's why what they want to achieve, or they think they can, they end up just not doing it at all. Because it's a simple...
Because of the norms that has been set.
The norms that have been set in your head on a daily basis of what you're supposed to be doing as a woman, as a Muslim girl, that doesn't match your career or your life. So it has to be in a certain way that everyone has to follow. Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Naima. So do you think, despite the norms and despite the society putting those obstacles for our girl child to achieve what they have achieved, what they want to achieve, do you think they're able to achieve what you've achieved?
Oh yes, everyone can, because everyone learns differently, everyone thinks differently. I only have 3 things that I go with in my life, and every time a mentor or I'm told to talk to a young girl, I tell them there's just 3 things you need to focus on. Do not conform to the norm. And that's one thing that I stood by. Like, I know a girl is supposed to be a doctor, is supposed to be a business, you're supposed to be maybe an accountant. That's a lawyer. That's what our society thinks is more Islamic.
Yeah.
But being a girl who's maybe under an engine closing with spare parts or something, or like, you know, that doesn't get into the hijabi girl that people know. So that doesn't make you a woman who's Islamic.
Yeah,
You get
definitely.
it? So I feel if we stop conforming to the norm and you manage to balance your religion and your career, then you stop being part of that stigma that is within our society. And you actually start thinking about Islam as a way of life that you can balance both your career and your lifestyle depending on what it is you're following. The second thing is you have goals. Every girl, if you know that this is what you want to do, you have the potential to achieve it despite your background, despite whether you come from a rich family, despite whether you come from a poor family. It's just you setting your goals and achieving them. And once you achieve one step, you're always pushed, like your heart, that enthusiasm that comes with it, pushes you to actually follow the next steps and accomplish your goals. And the last one for me is you are yourself. Like, despite your environment, despite everything around you, it is you. Like, all these obstacles, you're the only one who can pave your way through them. So you just can't ride on somebody's back to actually help you get there. So these 3 things is all young girls need to think about before they actually achieve what they want
to achieve in life. Definitely. Yes. Naima, of course we have those girls, yeah? Because first and foremost you've talked about poverty. So a girl who's poor, poverty cannot be the reason why she will not achieve what she wants to achieve in life. Poverty is just a stepping stone to success, isn't that? That's what I've understood from what you've said. Yeah. But what about the girl who has failed? She dropped out of school because of pregnancy. She's a drug addict maybe. She has some, you know, she other you know, very difficult time that she's going through as a young girl. What can you tell her?
All that you've said stands out as you as a person.
Yeah. Good.
At the end of the day, it's you.
It is
You're the one
definitely.
who put those obstacles there, and who can get you through them yourself.
Definitely.
So it comes back to my third point. It is yourself. If you think you can, if you got yourself there, you can get yourself out of there. And at the same way, as I said before earlier, if there's that usually you have that source in your heart that tells you that I'm not doing the right thing, so you can actually push yourself out of it and you will find your way. So all these are normal obstacles, as you said, maybe stepping stones or stepping down, but you still find your way. Eventually it is you.
Mashallah.
You can't expect anybody else to get you out of it.
Mashallah.
Yes.
So Naima, among the things that contributed to your success, the way I've understood you, you've said it's your parents. So maybe you can talk to or rather, what advice do you have for our Muslim parents when it comes to the career of their girls? Yeah.
Most of our parents are influenced by the society as well, which is sadly so. It's more about hearsay. So if I talk about, when I talked about earlier about how my extended family had issues with me traveling to the UK and living there, it's more about what they've heard or what someone else's girl did while they were there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's me, it's Naima. It's not somebody's daughter who's going to go back and do the same thing. So when you're a parent, you know your child, and I feel that's how my mom knew me, and she knew how to talk to me and how to get me there. And you as a parent, this is your daughter. This is your child, you raised them up, you know how you brought them up, and don't make other people's, your community and everybody's talk about how you should raise your child be your guideline. So this is where a lot of parents fall off, and they start taking advice from different ways, and this is your house and this is your priorities, and you know what your child's potential is.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So for example, if you look at our parents, I'll give you an example, is you would be definitely, if I listened to my extended family, my mom would have probably pushed me to be a doctor, because everyone thought, oh, she's smart, oh, she can be a doctor really easily. Like, that's what everyone wants you to be. So if I had a mom who thought like that as well, would have pushed me the same direction. But she told them directly, I know Naima cannot even like see blood. How do you push me to make her be a doctor? Like, I know my daughter, I can see her around the house. So you can't tell me what she needs to be. She knows herself and I know myself.
Yeah, what
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Naima, you're also a mentor, and that's something that we've really appreciated from you. Maybe you can talk to us about your mentorship programs.
So when I got back home from university, I thought like, okay, I've achieved something in my career.
Alhamdulillah.
And what am I doing to give back to the society? And what was the main question mark for me was everyone had this like stigma on them every time I told them what I do. So that is what pushed me to actually change that perception, especially in our community. So I started with going to Muslim girls' schools. And I think the first one I did was Nairobi Muslim, and it was just, I just started talking, and like I just got it all out. And that's when now I realized, okay, then this is something I could do, because now the girls I left there were looking up to me. So I wanted to change that perception of that science, technology, engineering is not a boy, and it's not a guy's thing, and a Muslim girl can also do it and can do it even better, perhaps. So we need to change that perception, and that's what I thought that was my way of coming back to the society and telling the girls that even if you don't want to do science, technology and engineering, you still have other challenges that our community brings us to us, and in our religion as well, and you can get through these as long as you put your faith on, as a stand, and you put your goals as a stand as well, and you put them all, pave them in one way, and you'll get to where you want to. So that's what I do on a daily basis. And
Mashallah. So many women have achieved their goals. They have reached the peak of their careers, and we find that they don't do that. They don't come back. They forget where they came from.
Yes.
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
What could be your advice?
To those who actually don't come back to society, I feel it's sad, because most people forget where they come from and where they were raised. It's always good for you to find your way as to how you can help.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, you don't have to be a mentor, you don't have to help people directly. It could be in very indirect ways. In very different ways you could actually be touching different people's lives. And my encouragement to them was always look back to where you come from. Because without it, you're not a person. The way you were raised is the way it builds you to who you are. So always look back, and always the first thing we forget is, especially those who reach the pinnacle of success, the worst part is they even forget their own families. Their mothers, their fathers who actually struggled to get them there, they tend to forget that as well. So it's a matter of you take a look back at what got you there, for you to actually say you didn't do it by yourself. You did it with someone.
Definitely.
Exactly.
It took a whole community to
get
you
there.
To get you where
Exactly.
you are today.
So go ahead and look back and actually do something about it. If it doesn't have to be directly to your family members, but it could be anybody who touched your life.
In one way or
Yeah.
the other. Okay. Naima, we are about to wind up, yeah? I want you to use this platform and tell our girls the secret behind success in life, in this dunya, and in the hereafter.
So for me, it's mostly just knowing your values.
Good.
Knowing where your values lie. And as I said, when you set your goals, they have to all be in tandem. They just can't be one religion. Religion is on one side, and then your career is on another side, and your whatever your life, personal life is on another side. They all have to align to each other.
Okay.
So for me, as a Muslim girl who's actually even working in an industry that is full of things that can make me fall off the wagon very easily, especially if you look at how the aviation life is, it's very international, it's very diverse. you just have to know your values and keep your respect, especially for girls. That is the most important thing, keeping your respect. For someone who I work with almost 30 to 40 men in a day, you can see that I see the difference between a lady who respects themselves and a woman who is just giving them the opportunity to have a go at themselves. So once you know your religion, you know what your religion tells you, you know the respect that you need to keep, and they stand with you. They actually respect you for being that way. So that's what the girls actually also miss out on. They feel like if I don't conform to the norm again, if I'm not within the hype, if I'm not modern, if I'm not, I have to be there's this thing about the modern Muslimah nowadays or something like that.
So the dress code.
Yes. So if I don't conform to that, I won't stand out, or I won't be part of with other people.
Very true.
So it's a matter of you respecting yourself and standing as to who you are. Don't let other people define you.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Naima, it was a pleasure to be with you. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this conversation will affect the souls of many girls out there and be the reason why they'll see success in their lives. Inshallah. Mtazamaji, ni matumaini yangu kuwa mumefaidika na kipindi chetu cha leo. Sina budi ila niwaage, na tunamwomba Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala atupatie tawfiq katika hii dunia wal akhirah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
تفاءل من على الدنيا